Music, in its most basic anatomy, is a vessel for human emotion to, in one way, shape, or form, express feelings and ideas through a universal dialect. Music is a language of emotion. Every note that is chosen in contention to one another, every sonnet that is meticulously crafted over a period of time aspires to one day be archetypal, a universal sound that can showcase what it means to feel a certain way. Though intangible, music can be whatever you need it to be, in that it can both represent and imitate emotion. When deconstructed down to its very core, it's a form of escapism for many of us, a gateway into the mind of someone else, a figment of their imagination left open for us to delve into. We often find that the music one listens to is a reflection of their inner thoughts, projected through the lens of temptation. You begin to reconstruct your surroundings. Your day-to-day life becomes an expansion to converse the ideal emotion your mind is relaying, in hope of stimulating some level of satisfaction. But in the end, everything has a life cycle, and music is no different. A song can be crafted and listened to, but can also be exhausted. Only a select few can stand the test of time, but when they do, they transcend. They become a quintessential form of art. And in 2010, Mark Foster created something quite special. Pumped Up Kicks unintentionally kickstarted the decade in a spectacular fashion. The lead vocalist, Mark Foster, wrote the song himself through the perspective of a young kid who was struggling to cope with reality, a kid who was tormented by homicidal thoughts and intentions. Yeah, it gets pretty dark. But to put things into context, the United States of America at the time was an outlet of media outrage, to the point where the US accounted for 30% of all mass shooting statistics worldwide. It was nothing short of a pandemic, and Mark somehow wanted to make sense of it. He drew inspiration by reading about the rise in mental awareness, predominantly in teenage rationale and health in America. So when he entered the writing phase, he was able to enter the mind of an isolated and psychotic persona, in hope of bringing some level of attention to the issue of gun violence among American youth. To fully comprehend the dire situation America finds itself in, you have to understand the psychological trauma that exists in society. As of July 2020, an average of 132 Americans die because of suicide every day. A further 1.4 million attempted suicide. In 2020 alone, it has already taken the lives of 44,344 people and is rising by the day. The human mind is complicated. It is incomprehensible, but what an artist can do, what a musician can do, in fact, is breathe life into those who for a moment gave up on theirs.
I think it's pretty easy when you listen to Pumped Up Kicks to realize that it's not promoting anything, that it's just an observation.
The construction of the song itself is fascinating. Mark focused in on the chorus primarily before anything else. The very conception of the gun that is mentioned progressively in the chorus was at first metaphorical. It had no underlying notion other than it being a weapon that advocated violence. But as time passed and as Mark began to understand the song more, it became increasingly apparent that the gun is in fact literal. It became an object that allowed him to craft, harness, the narrative of a mind essentially losing control, left with no other option but to submit to violence in order to be heard. Pumped Up Kicks was a love letter to the United States in hope of one day changing the standards set by society, where one can be judged by the trainers they wear to school. They can be the difference in being accepted or not. Mark used a pair of kicks not because everyone can relate, but as a metaphor to translate the fact that emotional detachment is derived from a sense of neglect, and how it can in one way galvanize an unstable mind into killing. The message was harsh but true. Mark wanted America to see what it has become, but as time would tell, his message would soon be lost in translation. The song at release was at first widely misunderstood, and to this day still is. Many believed it glorified mass killing, and the fact that it was the second track to be heard in their debut album, Torches, didn't help Mark's case either. But in hindsight, his observation of society was a revelation in many ways. It got people talking, and that was in no way a coincidence. Pumped Up Kicks is a perfect template for a song. It only uses one set of chord changes which serve as a progression for the entirety of the song's duration. The flow is predictable, but is perfect in allowing Mark to emphasize the dark thoughts that conjure in a mind that is lost. The song itself is very catchy and upbeat, almost spellbinding and making you want to sing along. It keeps you engaged because of the simplicity of the full chord progression, which allows the song to manifest in your mind. And for that very reason, the format of the chord progression is left untouched. Even at the instrumental break that takes place after the second chorus has come to an end, the chord progression does not change in any way. It remains the same. A constant progression, F minor, A B flat, E flat, B flat, allowing a rhythm to take form. The only deviation in structure that can be heard in the track as it continues are the additions of a whistle at the 2-minute 48-second mark and the introduction of a chorus which has less instrumentation than the rest, adding a different dynamic to the song by allowing him to speak his mind with minimal distraction to help you see just how lost society has become. The construction of pumped up kicks has a direct contrast with the message that is being sung to complement it. The cheerful upbeat melody coinciding and coexisting with the profound image of death is poetry at work. The juxtaposition in pumped up kicks lends itself to be a microcosm of a society that has already fallen apart. Undone by the flaws of human nature, the meticulous image Mark constructed foreshadows a future that of our own, a hopeless, never-ending nightmare of chaos, depicted as a notion for change. Mark wanted people to wake up. He wanted to create a reaction, and with a catchy song that took all but one day to write, Mark Foster did just that. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like the video if you did, that would be amazing, and let me know what you think. Gonna try my best to get a video out to you guys once every week starting from today. I got so much planned, and I just can't wait. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything, and be sure to hit the notification bell too so you know just what to do when I post. And yeah, take care, and I will catch you on the next one.